last loss, that was to the Chiefs in Week 7 of last season. Their longest regular season win streak right now at 12, and the longest one ever was 15 back in the 89-90 season. Meanwhile, the Giants are coming off their massive comeback win against the Cardinals. The G-men rallied from a 20-0 deficit to beat the Cardinals, ultimately 31-28. Now, Saquon Barkley was a huge part of that comeback win, and he has been ruled out for tonight's game against the Giants, or against the 49ers, because of an ankle injury that he suffered in that said comeback win. Now, that win was one of the largest comeback wins in Giants history. The last time they came back from a 21-point deficit, that was twice in the 1940s. The Giants and the Niners on Thursday Night Football kickoff at 8:15 Eastern. And our senior NFL insider, Josina Anderson, is joining us from Santa Clara. Josina, you were going to go to the game. And with the Giants on Sunday, it was really a tale of two halves for the G-men. A major comeback win. How do they forget about that first half, forget about the game against the Cowboys, and bring that kind of momentum from the second half against the Cardinals into tonight's matchup?
Well, you're right. When everyone was watching that game with the Giants and against the Cardinals, I think pretty much everyone who saw it thought they were dead in the water, and they were able to get all 31 points in the second half, which was really remarkable. And we'll talk a little bit later when we speak about the 49ers as well, as, you know, kind of what their impressions were of that. But, I mean, there is some speculation in the New York area with the media and what have you that maybe there was a change in play calling from offensive coordinator Mike Kafka to Brian Daboll. He didn't really confirm that, so far, but it was very evident that they were more aggressive in pushing the ball down the field. Even the first play in the second half, Daniel Jones takes a shot, and they were able to connect on some plays that they weren't able to before. Obviously, unfortunately, you had with 1 minute and 12 seconds remaining, running back Saquon Barkley suffering that injury that no one was really expecting. It's unfortunate because it was on their last series, and obviously he suffered that ankle injury that most people, reasonable people, knew was going to be keeping him out at least 2 to 3 weeks before head coach Brian Daboll just kind of threw a little monkey wrench in his press conference on Tuesday, suggesting that he was coming along, he's a fast healer, and all these things, and could potentially be a game time decision today. But the Giants wisely, and I think to the understanding of most people, ruled him out, and he will not be playing today. But it was good to see Jalen Hyatt and Darren Waller step up their receiving production in that game. They're going to need that type of production in the receiving game, especially with the Giants having less nationally known receivers. Not that they're not good on the squad to try to produce, especially with Saquon out this evening.
Jojo, you mentioned, of course, Saquon, one of the biggest names that's going to be out for the Giants. Also, Andrew Thomas, Azeez Ojulari. Those are also some names that are going to be out for Thursday Night Football as well. And I know you mentioned Saquon, how this backfield and their offense is looking, but let's dive into it. What is that offense going to look like? Who is going to fill that Saquon void, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's very interesting. So, obviously Saquon is a huge part of the Giants offense. I believe he was like 29% or so of their total yards from scrimmage last year when he had a career high 1,300 plus rushing yards for them. And I believe that ranked 5th highest amongst players in the National Football League with regards to his usage. So when you're looking at what the Giants are looking to do in his replacement, obviously you have the 7th-year veteran Matt Breida there, although he only has 3 carries for 14 rushing yards on the season, which isn't a lot, but folks here in the San Francisco area very familiar with him. He had his best year, his second year in the league, rushing for 814 yards, averaging 5.3 yards per carry. So they're going to be leaning on him, but they do have 2 other guys, and Gary Brightwell, only 1 carry for 5 rushing yards. Eric Gray, no carries this season. Their 5th-round draft pick this year, so they're going to need a little bit of help. But one thing to watch for potentially this evening, as Wendell Robinson is questionable for the game tonight, is not only is it if he's going to play, but Robinson does have rushing experience in his collegiate years at Kentucky and Nebraska. I don't believe he rushed for over 350 yards, but he can do it. So if he comes in, not only is he going to play, play, but is he going to complement and add to the Giants running game that they need, obviously, to help them out this evening, especially when you're looking at the fact that they're missing Andrew Thomas, the starting left tackle, and Ben Bredesen, their best guard, who is not even playing right now. So they're looking for run help. They're looking for Daniel Jones protection, who has been sacked the most in the league so far, and all those other things. So not a great complement of resources available for the Giants tonight, coming off such not only a huge win, but a national audience watching them tonight right after. So not the best of circumstances.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, I believe, has been sacked, I think, 10 times already this season. Let's talk more about Andrew Thomas. It's going to be tough protecting Daniel Jones with that mismatch that we're dealing with. How do you think Nick Bosa and this elite Niners defense is going to capitalize on that and capitalize on the Giants' O-line?
Well, I had a chance to talk to 49ers defensive coordinator Steve Wilks, and he is just talking about how he wanted to come into this team and be very humble and accept kind of the scheme that they already had in place with DeMeco Ryans leaving and obviously Robert Saleh there before. And we know that Nick Bosa missed the entire offseason trying to get a check, but he's been steadily getting acclimated. He had 34 snaps in the first game, that up to 61 snaps thereafter. So you can see a big jump in his participation. Now, people in this area, 49ers fans, have been clamoring about the fact that he doesn't have a sack yet, but Steve Wilks just talking about he is very much getting into shape, getting closer to football shape. It's coming. He had a ton of hits and pressures and things like that, and you particularly saw it in the second half when they were playing against the Rams. Remember, that game was tied 17-all initially, and they were able to keep the Rams to just 6 points in the second half. No touchdowns, 2 field goals, as Steve Wilks was very proud of how they tightened up, were coming together. So although their defensive rankings are not typically where we typically see them as far as overall, they are rounding back into shape as they reintegrate their best pass rusher and get adjusted to a new defensive coordinator.
All right, and the San Francisco offense, Josina, could be without Brandon Ayuk. He is questionable because of a shoulder injury. You're in Santa Clara. Based on your sources, what are you hearing? Do you think he's going to play, or are they going to sit him?
So as a senior NFL insider, we do our best work when we're actually at the stadium as far as those questionables that are coming into the game. So we're not there yet. Media not allowed into the stadium until 2 o'clock. But when we get there, trust me, I will have an eagle eye on Brandon Ayuk to kind of figure out what is going on with him right now. He's the leading wide receiver statistically for the 49ers, I believe, with 11 receptions, 172 receiving yards, or something close to that. But the point is, he's their best receiver. You get the point. And he did hurt that left shoulder in the opening drive in that game that I was talking about against the Rams. So he still participated in 33 snaps overall. So they were still kind of using him limited. But they obviously need him. They want him in there. So we'll see. But Brock Purdy's been doing a great job keeping it steady. I believe he has 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, completing 66% of his passes. Obviously, he would like to have Brandon Ayuk in there. But Steve Wilks, I think, putting it best, saying that they're not relaxing because Saquon is not playing. They do believe that this team is going to be efficient overall and still try to get it done on the strength of Daniel Jones's legs at the very least.
All right, that is our
car
senior.
and a tractor trailer gets going to my right over here.
That's all right. It's live TV, Josina. We get it. Josina Anderson previewing Thursday Night Football with the Giants and the Niners. And JoJo will be looking forward to any updates on Brandon Ayuk. Kick there is set for 8:15 Eastern time tonight. And of course, join our crew over at Sportsline on CBS Sports HQ weekdays at 6 p.m. They have picks, props, all the things leading up to kickoff. Katie Mox, Emery, EK, the whole squad has got you covered. Make sure you tune in at 6 p.m. Eastern.